For those that haven't come across it, when we are born, a trust stroke corporation is created in our name in all uppercase letters. And that trust is then sold on the market to raise money and finance for these people on the basis of the kind of finance and that we will produce in our lifetimes and what have you. And it's to do with this system of the law of the seas, where the maritime law from Britain originally, where if you enter a ship, then you are agreeing to be subject to the law of the country under which that flag of that ship is flying. And what they did is they then brought this law ashore so that if you enter a federal building, for instance, in America, and there is an American flag flying with a gold fringe around it, which I've been around America year after year for 15 years or so. Every federal building, every school, every court, all of them are flying a flag with a gold fringe around it. You look at the president when he's making an address to the nation, you'll see the American flag with the gold fringe around it. And the gold fringe in the international law of the flags means maritime law. So when you enter a court in America, you are not being subject to constitutional law. That flag next to the judge with a gold fringe around it means that court is operating under maritime law. And I know, like I say, many people in America now who are challenging this system, some with success and some with not so much success, because in the end, if you are dealing with a system of justice and fair play, then this Freeman movement and the legal basis on which it's founded, which is to withdraw from this uppercase corporation and become the sovereign person and therefore not be subject to these laws and courts that we are under the system I've described, then that would work, because you would present the facts, you would present the evidence, and the courts would then say, okay, you're a sovereign person, you're not subject to these laws, you're not subject to these impositions. But we don't live in a society or a system that is based on fairness and justice. And in the end, under the system as it works, if some judge says, I'm not accepting this, then it's a lot of people have found it very difficult to go beyond that. So on one level, I think it's great, and some people are being successful with it. But in the end, we've got to cease to acquiesce to the system in other ways, in ways of non-compliance, so that the system itself comes down. Because until that happens, then even the Freeman movement is going to find it very difficult to overcome the system. When the system is not being fair and just and says, I don't care what your evidence is, I don't care if it's true, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, basically this is my court, what I say goes, and I didn't have a very good night last night, so you're going to cop my wrath. Basically.
Yeah, a lot of people have found that, but some have been successful with it as well.
Yeah, okay. What do you think about 2012 as well? All the talk about 2012, all the changes that are going to happen, whether it's going to be a spiritual change or the end of the world, all these things that people are saying. What's your take on 2012, David?
Well, I have a different view on that.
Big distraction, you think?
Yeah, I call it the spiritual Y2K personally. I mean, I do see what the people some people are saying, that there's evidence of this, evidence of that, but I don't buy it personally. And funnily enough, you would think I would, because when I started on this journey 20 years ago, it basically started when I saw a psychic in 1990, and she suddenly started bringing out all this stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, you're having a laugh, that I was going to go out on a world stage and reveal great secrets. And
she was totally wrong, wasn't she then, Dave?
And the reason I tell you that story is because one of the things that came out was there is going to be a spiritual revolution in the world in your lifetime, when basically people are going to wake up from their amnesia. And of course in 1990 there was no sign of that. because of a vibrational change.
The rise in the Schumann resonance. The rise in the Schumann resonance is rising, and it is having an effect on the organism. I truly believe that it is.
It certainly is. So you would think, from that experience, that I would be saying, well, yeah, look, 2012, it all fits. Look, in the Mayan calendar, it's a finish of one age and start of another. But I can't sync with it. I can't sync with it at all. And I have seen quite detailed articles which have pointed out that actually when you go behind the repetition of the Mayan calendar, and this is the story, that actually the evidence is not anything like there in the abundance that it is alleged to support the idea of this 2012 thing anyway. What I feel is that you quite rightly point out the Schumann cavity resonance, etc., the vibrational change that's going on. By 2012, it's going to be quicker than it is now, so it will have moved on, and there will be effects for that. But I just don't see 2012 in December or whenever it is, just everything changes at that point. I think it's going to gather, and it's going to gather, but I think 2013 is going to be gathered more than 2012, and 2014 more than 2013. I don't buy this whole in a moment it's going to happen. And in one way it doesn't matter, except that I don't know where you found this, but I and some other people that run similar websites have had the experience of people saying, well, what's the point of doing anything? Because it's all going to change in 2012 anyway.
Exactly. That's the thing that I've been finding, which has been quite a little bit horrific for me, like a bit scary to find people saying this. Look, I don't care about the New World Order because in 2012 the whole world's going to change. So I'm just going to sit back and watch the world turn to hell around me because I'm going to be saved by some spiritual renaissance.
Yeah, and what's that? That's the equivalent of Jesus coming back. It's the equivalent of so many religious themes. If you get to 2012 and the Y2K doesn't happen, then we're going to look back and think, well, what a waste of the last 3 years or 3 or 4 years.
I could have actually done something to change things. I could have stood up and made a stand for humanity, but instead I waited to be saved in 2012. I find that quite scary. I think there is a possibility of some sort of rise in consciousness happening, but I think a lot of it is based on our free will and our freedom of choice and what we choose to embrace with our consciousness. And if we don't start stepping away from this fear vibration that we're locked in now, I think we're going to find ourselves in some pretty hot water.
Yeah, interestingly, if you look at 2012, 3 years from now, by then, not only will the vibrational change have moved on and had its effect, but so will this whole gathering Orwellian state. These are crucial years, the next 3 years to 2012, both for those that are trying to put the lid on humanity and those who are seeking to remove it. It's going to be a very, very interesting time to be here and experiencing this real pivotal moment in human history in so many ways.
Absolutely. Well, it's been lovely having you on the show, David. We'll have to call it an end there. We're pretty well out of time.
Okay, mate.
And hopefully we'll catch up again.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Thank you, Max.
No worries, David.